So you didn't live stream the debate last night?
No, I realized I wasn't Hillary Clinton. When they, we decided not to do that when they were still talking about there might be a 3-hour debate, which they were. That moderator was wrong last night. No, because a 3-hour debate is basically 3.5 or more hours in front of the camera, and I can't do that without drinks and cigarettes. So, and I'm not Hillary, so I said never mind. So I thought it would be better if we just rehashed today. I thought at least 3 or 4 times last night I turned to Carl and I was like, they are Republicans. These are not. Are they Democrats? Because I never heard Republicans talk so much about concern for income inequality, saving Social Security and Medicare. Huckabee was talking about understanding that there is a contract between the federal government and the American people, and Marco Rubio was talking about don't mess with my mama's Social Security and her Medicare. Right. Carly Fiorina was talking about the big and the powerful oppressing the small and the powerless. I'm like, Carly, really? Carly Fiorina's talking about this stuff? Jeb Bush, nobody said this. I heard him say there should be a floor that retired people would get 125% of the poverty level. And I'm like, and nobody's even talked about that, so I was like, oh my Lord, I could just picture people in the club rooms at the Dallas Country Club or Willowbrook down in Tyler or any country club where Republicans water going, they're supposed to be talking about privatizing Social Security. Who are these people? Is this the Democratic undercard? I mean, I really wondered what was going on. So, now there were, as far as the debate itself, there were 10 people on stage, so I can't talk about all of them. I can only punch at them, because if I talked about it, this clip would be longer than an episode of I Love Lucy. So I'm just going to hit them.
Okay.
Okay, we're just going to hit. So, Casey, trying to be relevant, still, I believe, the Republicans' best choice for producing a mainstream candidate who could be very competitive in a general election, but nobody's noticing. Mike Huckabee proving once again, as I have said before, I think perhaps on camera, he can be very charming when he's not on Fox. Rand Paul, Bland Paul, move on Bland, we're done with you. Chris Christie, bless his heart, can't stand up straight for more than 10 minutes. The surgery did not work. Carly Fiorina, her best line of the evening was when she said, which is true, that in our heart of hearts, she actually used that cliched term, can you believe it, heart of hearts, that we all want to see her on a debate stage with Hillary. And
oh my God.
And we all do. And there's something a little bit sexist and a little bit mud wrestling about that whole comment, but Carly, it was good. Who else? Who am I forgetting? There's Ben Carson, whose charm completely escapes me. The man, they keep talking about, he's so soft-spoken. I don't think he's soft-spoken. I think he's medicated. And I'm not talking your run-of-the-mill Valium or Prozac or Zantac. I'm thinking
he's a doctor.
Well, yeah, he can get the good stuff. So I'm thinking lithium. If he goes long enough, I can't wait to find out what his doctors have talked about his medical history, because he talked about how angry he was. Well, lithium could stop that. So there's him and
the Donald,
who, bless his heart, I have to say, he did kind of remind everybody why he's the Donald. He got a couple of good lines, and he was just kind of there and kind of in good form. Have I left him? Rubio and Bush, I think, are those the only two I didn't hit?
I think so.
I hope so.
Oh, we forgot
Ted
about
Cruz.
Teddy.
Oh, well, he's so forgettable. I guess that's all the commentary you need about his performance. Did despite what they were saying on TSN today, they're like, Ted Cruz scores big. Really? I must have slept through that portion. Oh, wait, I didn't sleep through any of it. But Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio, the big winner and the big loser in the candidate debate last night, because they threw that question about the Sun Sentinel and how many votes Rubio has missed, and Jeb got all patronizing and paternal. This was a 6-year job that you took on, and we're not French, and you need to do your job, and you don't work 3 days a week. And Rubio looked at him and said, you're only saying this because we're, running for the same job, and someone told you that it would be good for you to attack me. And I was like, well, not drunk. Jeff, you're dead. You're dead. I know that they were planning last weekend with Jeb Bush. They were planning that whole, he went down to Houston and
his A-team,
the A-team and all that. Well, honey, there was nothing A about him last night. Unless the A stands for awful, and that would be true. But Marco Rubio, I thought he did good. I really thought he did good. And the whole thing with the Florida Sentinel thing, that irritated me about those moderators, because that was the laziest question they asked, other than the stupid stuff. Well, that wasn't lazy, that was stupid. When they asked about fantasy football, stupid. Is Donald Trump qualified to be the moral leader of the country? Stupid question, because the answer is an unqualified no.
It's a given.
That's a given. He's Donald Trump. Has he ever been? Oh, I'm not going to say that. I'm really not going to say that. Anyway, but Rubio hit that. I thought he took that, and the reason I said that was a lazy question, because there were 2 other senators on that stage, and they did not compare their voting record with Rubio's. And if you were going to ask a cogent question about Rubio's record, you had to contrast it with Cruz's and Rand Paul's, and you didn't, so you're lazy. So you didn't do your job. And so the candidates, one by one, blasted hell out of the media. and the 5 people who rotated, I think it was 5, on and off out of that table, did a horrible disservice because they were so incompetent. And so the news, the way I looked at it was, Rubio won, Jeb Bush lost, media under the table. Because y'all did such an incompetent job of mediating that debate and throwing them questions that they were fully prepared to answer by shoving those answers back down your throat, which is what their job is. So
right.
I'm a little bit miffed, because I want the media, I want them to be like Megyn Kelly and Anderson Cooper. Megyn Kelly is on the right side. She asked hard questions of the Republican candidates. Anderson Cooper leans left, asked hard questions of the Democratic candidates. That bunch of bozos last night, all they did was allow that group of 10 to look way more competent than they actually are, when what they should have been doing was trying to initiate the epic failure of the campaigns that really need to start folding now. Jeb, are you listening?